The narrative function of Henry and Sam was to show a mirror image of Joel and Ellie, this brother that's almost like a father to Sam, a person that's willing to do anything to protect his brother.
Sam and Henry are another example of this duality that we encounter, who are bonded together not only because they're the only family they have left, but because they also speak a language that very few people speak.
I love that so often when we were working on this, when we had a deviation, Craig would always call me. He's like, okay, I've been thinking about Sam, and hear me out. I know it's a big change, but what if he were death? And it's a way that Sam has to rely on Henry even more.
They're going to help us escape.
And I said, that's so good, it makes me upset that I didn't think about it.
Leading up to getting the role, I did not know ASL.
Lamar and Bella picked up ASL in an instant.
The interpreters, and CJ and Kevon in this film, they were so willing to help anyone who wanted to learn. In the end, all the crew were signing because everyone wanted to communicate and let them know how great they were.
When we go into the sewers and we see that there was like a whole community down here that has perished, you get to appreciate how different groups survived. For fans of the game, when they see that drawing of Ish, they know this whole other story that has existed and happened in this world. In a game, you could pick up notes and read them. It's one of those few moments of pure innocence when you're seeing them laugh. That's very rare in this world.
Sam definitely does bring out a childlike energy in Ellie, and I think that naturally came just through working with Kevon.
Endure and survive.
Yeah, man.
Keep it down, we're not out yet.
You know, I wasn't exactly telling you the truth before.
He's responsible for Kathleen's brother's death because he was saving his own brother. And so, my brother's more important than your brother. These are decisions that love makes, not rationality.
I know why you did what you did, but did you ever stop to think that maybe he was supposed to die?
He's just a fucking kid.
How many people will you sacrifice? How many people will you burn to protect the one you love?
Kathleen would say her absolute moral code is one of her strengths. I think it's one of her weaknesses. You need to have empathy for the positions that people are in.
In a world where everything's falling apart, you latch on to the things that you can to stay sane.
For a show that has monsters in it, we don't have a lot of monsters because there's no gameplay when you're watching a show. But I wanted people to feel for the first time just how humanity lost. Because look at what's pouring up out of the ground.
When it came to the infected, we realized that we had the largest amount of infected that we've ever had in the show so far. So we got in contact with Terry Notary, who does a lot of work with movement on the Planet of the Apes movies. He set up a special infected boot camp with stunt and movement people.
When you have a human being playing these characters, you really get the subtleties that it's so hard for animators, it takes them forever to recreate it.
We have everything from a swarm of infected to clickers. There's a bloater.
Stop! Kathleen was killed by a child clicker. She was warned about a danger lurking in a basement. She turned away from it because she just wanted to chase after Henry and make sure she got vengeance. Maybe it's for the best. I don't think she's a person who could have found peace.
You think they'll be okay?
It's easier when you're a kid anyway.
Neil's story made it very clear that you cannot escape fate in this regard. And that, in fact, the more ruin and hurt you cause to protect this person, the more brutal it will be when you lose anyway.
The scene where Ellie tries to heal Sam with her blood, to her, it was her chance to be this hero that she'd been promised that she was. And she was so desperate, because also the relationship that she'd built with Sam.
It was really tough for me to film the scene in this room. Sam is so important to Henry. Once he lost Sam, Henry felt as though there wasn't much to live for.
What did I do?
And I think it really affects Joel and Ellie moving forward in the story.
This is where Joel is beginning to understand what's happening inside him, because it's been 20 years since there was anybody in his life like a Sam that would ruin him if he were to lose them. And he doesn't quite know how it happened, but it has begun to happen now with Ellie. When he sees what happens here, all he can think is, that's going to be her and me. And it terrifies him. Trying to save somebody and then failing is a terrible feeling. And it is, in fact, the feeling that Joel finds himself soaking in now, every day, because he's panicked that it's going to happen to him again. He can handle being shot at, he can handle being punched, kicked. What he cannot possibly fathom is going through the experience of losing his child again, and that's what Ellie is becoming to him.
Ellie doesn't make relationships easily, mainly because the relationships she has built have been cruelly taken away from her. That's where Joel and her are the same.
What's incredible was to be able to explore things that I think are very much a part of the experience of the game, but you can expand on.
You're not gonna scare us.
Scared him?
One of those things is the internal life of these characters.
With the show, there was this addition of like, he's having a physical reaction to that. He can't breathe, his chest hurts. It's a combination of his age, but also all the events that have just happened.
Are you dying?
And his connection to Ellie. He's just so scared. And Ellie doesn't quite understand what's happening with him. Joel just feels like he needs to save everyone around him. Joel has this goal where he thinks he needs to go save his brother. And then he arrives in Jackson. Not only does he not need to save his brother is thriving.
This place actually fucking works.
When we were in Canmore filming, just the little town of Jackson, I was just like, there's the bank, there's the studio, lights! I was like, they got everything, they got all we need. It just makes my job easier, because I could just really come onto set and be.
Imagine going to a town and being able to put in like a half-acre stables with sheep and horses and cows and all of that stuff. My favorite part of that was building the paddock and the stables and everything in the parking lot right in the middle of town.
Hey, Joel, check it.
When we go into these places, we're not doing anything small. We spend quite a bit of time there. And if there's one business on a street that we want to film on that doesn't want to play ball, we're out of luck. Fortunately, we've had everyone accommodate us everywhere we went.
Jackson, it's this beautiful community. It's the closest some group has come to the world that we know, the world that we live in, that they could watch movies, that they could celebrate Christmas.
I'm sorry about your kids.
It's okay. And kid, just Kevin. Sarah was Joel's daughter.
There's this beautiful moment where Joel stumbles outside and he thinks he sees his daughter. We love the idea that for a moment he would think, just for a moment, and then he would see her with her daughter and he would think, that's what I would have.
We always try to keep her spirit in the scene. I think it's always a ghost in the room between Joel and Tommy.
I'm failing in my sleep. It's all I do. It's all I've ever done. It's fail.
Anybody who's like grieving or who've lost a child, everybody goes through that path differently. With Maria, I think she poured into the people because that's what she had. And I think Joel kind of just imploded. Like, I just feel like he just went into himself. But it is different to see how Maria and Joel both handle those losses very, 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 very differently.
I've lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
And that scene is perhaps the most famous scene from the game. We did it almost exactly. We changed a few things here and there. The general execution of it was something that I thought was important we stick to exactly.
Everybody I have cared for has either died or left me. Everybody fucking except for you! Me and Pedro, both of us really felt the pressure of that. And when you feel too pressured in something, when you've created that for yourself, it can be hard to perform how you want to. Yeah, no, I had sleepless nights over that scene.
I didn't envy them, so trying to do a scene that exists in the game and is seared into people's mind, and they made it their own, and it's just as beautiful.
Ellie admits she's afraid and that he makes her less afraid. And what Joel doesn't know how to tell her is she makes him more afraid. That when you care about something or someone, that's when the fear happens.
Joel? Joel, no, 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 shit! Ellie's biggest fear is definitely ending up alone. Joel, open your eyes. Open your eyes. I can't fucking do this without you. Please.
At the end of episode 6, Joel appears to be dying. When we return to find him with Ellie, he is in terrible shape. And in fact, is telling her to leave him because he's not gonna make it. Ellie has to make that decision. In the moment she hesitates, we are brought back in time to an Ellie we have not met.
We get to see what is it like to be a kid in this world. Before you get thrust on this crazy journey or find out you're immune to the cordyceps, you're just a kid in a military school that feels like she doesn't belong. She has no connection with anybody else, except for this one girl that left her. And she thought was dead because she was gone for so long.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I just ran away for a bit, that's all.
If you're going through some shit, you're supposed to, I don't know, talk to your best friend about it. Riley is Ellie's only friend, really, in the QZ zone. She also has quite a big crush on her. Their bond and their relationship is very real and pure and fun. They have a really interesting dynamic, and I loved working with Storm to create that.
Riley is played by Storm Reed. We had to find somebody that was able to not only be on Bella's level in terms of talent, but also somebody that we think would have the upper hand on Ellie, and that's a tall order.
Turn right, open the door, tell me when you're there. Go.
Fine.
This is Riley's one last chance to show her love and appreciation before she goes away.
Are you there? I'm here. Now what?
The metaphor for this episode was, what is it like to skip school in the post-apocalypse? And you get to see them play an arcade game. Imagine an arcade game that Ellie has a poster of in her room. She probably read about in some old video game magazine they found. They've probably seen the moves, and here they get to do it. Riley gifts that to her.
Go again? Goddamn right. It was so much fun to film. It was crazy, very full on. And those days were long and emotional and taxing, but honestly, they're so rewarding and so satisfying.
It's really cool to just walk around and admire the work that people do. The authenticity of what the world looks like or what the mall looks like, they did an amazing job.
The mall was, I think, one of the most amazing sets. We had to get a carousel, we had to do a Halloween store, we had to do a Victoria's Secret store.
What? Nothing, I was just trying to imagine you wearing that.
Shut up!
Riley is kind of testing out the waters and seeing how Ellie feels, and she has a little crush on her, so it's kind of like a date, but not really.
In that world, to have a crush on someone, it's still like a feeling that you can't just turn it off because the apocalypse is going on and you don't think you have a future together. It's something that's still very much there.
In this world, it's often the case that the happiest moments are interrupted by the worst moments. And there's this wonderful moment where Ellie realizes that Riley feels the same way about her that she feels about Riley, and They kiss.
Ellie gets to experience first love, first kiss, and then we snatch it away from her.
They're attacked and they are both infected. And they believe, quite certainly, that they are both going to die or turn into a monster.
No, 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 no! No!
Where Ellie turns dark and violent, smashing the store up and screaming and just furious. Riley is quiet because Riley has experienced loss. The Ellie we're seeing now has never experienced loss. And Riley does say, we're all going to the same place.
Some of us just get there faster than others.
But we don't quit on the time we have together.
And then cutting that with Joel when he tells Ellie, leave me, and he pushes her away. But that memory is ringing in Ellie's ears, and she knows that she's gonna fight to the bitter end, because the person she loves the most now in this world is Joel, and she'll go to any length to save him.
Ellie is thinking about Riley, and she's thinking about the fact that Riley didn't quit on her, Riley didn't walk away, Riley didn't let Ellie kill herself, and Ellie's not walking away from Joel. And she walks right back down there and she says, I'm going to keep this moment for as long as I can. For as long as I have you, I'm with you.